card the last time you were?
You did.
I don't.
But I definitely want to stay a little better with that event. I don't think that you would be a really good asset to it.
Anything that you do you need another one?
Yes, actually, I would have account and then I would delete app. Yep. But I would. I just like writing. I give you my card.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So thank you for coming out. Sorry. I know pretty much all of you. Yes, Susan's back there, so we can talk to her when she comes back.
Dawn says she likes your skirt.
Oh, thank you. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to go right into the class. I'm not sure she's right now. I broke the topic of treating like a show into different categories. And so we have tips to grow your following in the community, tips to be able to create tweets, stand here. Basically, what you do is on Twitter, if you want to really follow me, there's a couple of different tricks you can use. One of them is to look for people that you want that are in the same field and follow them and watch how they're doing. So if you're doing it professionally, watch other professionals that have a strong following and tweet the kind of content you like. Follow them, see what they do, follow their habits, because these are some habits that are going to help you grow your following as well. What?
Is that you're not going to show you're going to like go on to.
Oh. Yeah. Others.
Just as press any other day.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll do that for now. Basically, you can then, once you're following people you like, you also follow people that you're going to follow back, your audience. So you have to determine who is it that I would love to be a reader, to be somebody that is going to engage with me, interact with me when I'm working with sponsors. They'll support me by retweeting and sharing. Like, look at that and, seek them out and start engaging with them. Another thing that Twitter offers is search.twitter.com. And that allows you to click on certain areas. You can actually put keywords in there and it will show you people who are tweeting about that, those kinds of things in the area. So like if you're working on college prep, here in this area, Cooper City, you could type in Cooper City and then a phrase related to your kids getting ready for college or something like that.
That's just a separate website?
It's search.twitter, so it's like a subdomain of Twitter and it's free. So you can go in there and find phrases that are tweeting about these topic areas. And then you can start engaging with them. Like if you see somebody is, has a teenage kid and you're doing college prep services, now you can start interacting with them, and maybe offering them a resource, like funding services. But just engage with your audience, engage with people that you're seeking out. It also helps you find brands that you're looking for at the search desk. Brands that you want to interact with, engaging in search, and it'll help you find brands that you're talking about. The self-promotion was this mentioned, so try to keep it to 20% or less. People, what you'll find is like 80% of Twitter is internet marketers and people that are doing advertising on Twitter. And people are kind of like, there's so many tweets that go to their feed all the time that, just an advertisement, a lot of times they're actually just doing they're looking for something that stands out. And they like to get close pictures of their family, pictures of views, things, having fun with friends, things like that. People, they love pictures. Some people joke, like, I don't care what you had for breakfast, but if you take a really good picture and you talk about it, where you had it, you'll be surprised a lot of people engage. retweet it. There's some people that don't care. But honestly, if you're offensive to it, you're going to attract people who also not attract people. So people that don't care, they're not maybe necessarily right.
So like that is an example. You're not tagging people, you're just tweeting it and then hashtagging it, right?
Well, yeah, you can hashtag, or if you're at a specific restaurant or something like that, you tag because people like to see where they could get into. People eat with their eyes. So that's why Pinterest works, that's why Instagram works, that's why, images on Twitter. And that includes direct images. So like you might post on Instagram and share it on Twitter, but Twitter makes it a link because Facebook is Instagram. So sometimes it's better to go and get the image and post it to Twitter directly because then they're sure. And those actually stand out more. I'm actually going to get into that a little bit after this tips. But another thing is retweeting, replying, and quoting. It's really important to retweet other people because if it looks like you're only posting your stuff, you're posting your stuff, you're not engaging, you're not building community, you're kind of being selfish. And retweeting others, they look at it, they're like, oh, wow, that was great, and then they take notice, and then maybe they retweet your stuff. Or if they tweet at you, it's good to reply to them. If they're writing to you and you're not writing back, they think that they're just not there. You're just tweeting automatically. A real person that would not really engage with me as a follower.
How many Twitter followers do you
have? Okay, I have more than one account. On my main personal account, I've got a little. It's 8,500 around there somewhere.
So if you have that many, okay, so how many people are you following?
Around the same. There's like a 1-to-1 ratio. I might actually check 100 or something. But it's kind of like a ratio. If somebody sees your profile and you have like 20,000 followers and you're only following 1,000 people back and you're not a celebrity, they're gonna be like, you bought all your followers. Or you're, something happened where you got all those followers, but you're not engaging. Then they don't want to follow you.
So my question is, okay, 8,500 or so. How are you scrolling through those to reply and how are you even managing the day? So that
yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go through some
things
to help you manage it.
Okay.
But these are just ways that I'm trying to actually build it. And then coding. Love that. And then even quotes in general. People love quotes. Quotes travel fast. Especially inspirational quotes. Then another way, which is one of my favorite ways, is participation tools where you use your chats. Because a lot of people are on at the same time, and when you start tweeting and engaging, you get a lot of followers on those chats because people are like, oh no, I really like this stuff you said. It's your chance to be in front of a lot of people because you're using the hashtag just as anybody else. What I'll find with our Twitter chats and Bloggin is sometimes bloggers have way more tweets than we do because they're in there, we're focused on getting certain things done, trying to, greet people, whereas they might be in there retweeting everybody and, not focusing on the business that we do. And so it helps them build themselves up, plus brands. Like, we send reports to the brands for our chats, and they'll see who's the most, who had the most impression to engaging with things, because then brands take notice, and I've had brands come to me and say, hey, we really love this particular person on that last Twitter chat, we'd like to have her back on the next one. And it's like, oh, she wasn't close, she was well, bring her on. So you'd be surprised. Yeah, sorry about that. Now another way, which you gotta be careful about, is posting or participating in giveaways. A lot of times, bloggers will do group giveaways. You'll have a raffle cover, and you can put your Twitter link, like $1 Twitter link, and that'll help you. Like some of our giveaways, you can get 6, 7, 8 followers. So it helps, but you have to be careful because the followers are trying to listen, and so they might not be the most engaged. Although, like blogging on giveaways, it tends to be other bloggers who are very engaged invulnerable. So we find that there's a lot of support among our staff. But you gotta be very careful. There could just be people who aren't. They're just there to lose something. They're just a power that's constantly engagement after. But as bloggers, we know, unfortunately, brands look at numbers. We know it matters about quality. We know that 1,000 really good quality followers are more than 10,000 non-engaged followers. But sometimes brands just go through when you apply and you come to the bloggers to apply for something, and they just run like a cutoff date. Like if they don't have this many, we're not even looking at them. We don't even care who's engaged or not. And unfortunately, that's the world we operate. So sometimes it's a way to help get our numbers a little bit higher. Not to say that I don't want to mislead you. That is how it is. And we try to do our best to educate young people. We give our chances. Like we've had co-hosts on our thing that have like one of them, Linda, she had like 2,500 followers when we started hiring her to do the podcast. That's really most Twitter accounts nowadays. They want like 10,000 to 20,000 followers. And we gave Linda a chance, and she, like her first Twitter card, she was the second most engaged person, thanks to Eric over there, where people engaged with her the most, second most, and she only has 2,500 followers. So sometimes it doesn't matter if you have a low amount, you can still get those high numbers on Twitter. If you have really engaged audience that increase your stuff, that shares it, and so forth. So it takes a little more work to do that with a small community, but you can still have that impact. And then we continue to hire her, like every other Twitter account we hire her for, because she has such a strong engagement. And that's what we explain to brands is, it's not this person, or it's not just even we have staff that are family members, and at first they were like, we have to answer the advertisers, and they care about us, and they want to hire people. Sometimes you gotta be careful. Maybe not go into the numbers. Maybe some of them that have good level numbers and so forth you can do too, because it's good. You see like more engagement, almost a lot than necessarily not necessarily I would want to engage audience. It's just there's so many things that are already working on that maybe your thing doesn't get showcased. And so sometimes it's more like, oh, we do less, and that's what it's one thing, I don't do it as much now just because I'm saying just 7 or 8 accounts, is I used to tag new followers. And I'd welcome it, like, oh, thanks for following. And it wasn't like an automatic message, it wasn't like an auto DM to their inbox. It was really like, thanks for following, these new people are welcome to followers. To follow you, because people really like getting mentions.
Yeah.
And especially when you follow somebody and they get mentioned, they go, oh, that's so cool. Especially if your following starts growing and they're a New York person, like they have a lower number and then you mention them, it's like, oh, wow, this person, mentioned me.
Do you like check them out before you mention them? Because I notice sometimes you have like these.
Yeah, you check them out. I tend to like review people first, like let them sit there for people. Like because a lot of times when Spanish grade, they follow like 100 people within 3 or 4 days, or within the first 2 weeks. And if you don't follow people back in like 2 or 3 days, you'll see who got lost because they're doing too much too soon. So another way that I have is pay attention to and Twitter lets you customize. So you can do trending topics in the United States or another place, or you can say trending topics of followers. On the left-hand column, it usually shows you what people are talking about, what they're hashtagging about. Like we actually trended during the Twitter party once, and we trended second to that whole blue, black, and gold, white dress thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like that was #1, and then we were #2. But the funny thing was about that was because that was trending, so many people were checking out trends. That I think that's why it helped our hashtag trend a little bit more. They saw what was next And they were like, oh, let me check out that too. Now that I'm checking out this new black dress thing. But pay attention to what's trending because, you know, if people are talking about it, it's like a hot topic, and you can drive. I've seen people take advantage of it very quickly. They read a blog post or something related to that topic, like that. They would have a blog post, and then they tweet it out, and then they get like 11,000 visits on it, you know, within 2 days on their page because all these people were talking about it, and they tweeted about it and wrote about it so quickly before anybody else could get to it, you know, that it actually helped their post go viral. Like we even had something, Erica, right? There was somebody in the group, and you had a post to story too, but she posted and then she shared it, and she got 11,000 something views within 4 hours because she was the first one to have it written out and ready to go. So sometimes you know, pay attention to what's happening out there amongst your followers, then you can just snap onto it real quick and write something, and that will drive more traffic.
During the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I tagged onto a brand that was getting controversy over one of their commercials. And I used their hashtag and it just exploded.
Yeah, and my husband has like hardly any followers. Master hashtag master. But he has like, maybe he has 300 or 400 followers now. But we put it for WWE ambassadors, and then we went to a WWE event, and he was the first one to like tweet out something to the Big Show, and then the Big Show retweeted it, and then he got like 125 retweets, and then he got like 600 visits to his webpage within 2 hours. Like it was just.
Like, what did you tweet?
He just tweeted a picture of the Big Show with my kids, like, and he was just, yeah, like we're backstage with the Big Show, and that thing just he did the Big Show retweeted and it went nuts, and he was like, oh my god, I just got like 600 followers, and, you know, it's my page in 2 hours, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's something that people talk about, it's trends. If you're in the middle of a WWE event, watching and following the WWE hashtag.
It's like the 15 minutes of fame. Like once it's over, like.
So you know, pay attention. And the key is like early. Like if everybody's already talking about it, and then you post like 2 days later, you know, at that point they're already sick of it. I'm tired of all these posts. I'm not even checking it out. But if you catch on to something, that's a traffic. My husband says to me Monday, he goes, Heather, did you do something on Bloggin Mom's page? And I was like, why? He's like, because our traffic jumped up like 1,200% on Monday. And I said, well, gee, there's 2 things. I said, 1, I sent out a giveaway for the iRetreat conference ticket. And I was like, and 2, there was somebody else had written a little thing about our own conference in a blog post that had went viral. And because it was in her blog post, they also went and visited our site, pretty viral, and got like a whole bunch of views on our ones. They just were being in somebody else's blog post. So, just staying on top and making yourself known. And it was something because it was trending. I had sent that person a message about something we were doing, and she turned around and added it to a blog post, and so we got all this traffic. And let's see. Next, tips for making money from your tweet. So there's services like you might have heard of IZEA. IZEA is actually based in the Orlando area of Florida, international. So they have like a marketplace, and you can do blog posts and tweets and so forth and get paid. They used to have a service which they kind of shut down, which we used to get paid for tweeting. And it's now into the marketplace, but it would be like, okay, you tweet this, and then you get like $3 for it. And they've come up with campaigns that fit your audience.
Oh, that's kind of like what Swerve does, right?
Yeah, it's for, there's different ones like that. So you can look at how, Google is your friend. Google, services, pay for the tweet, get paid for the tweet, and you'll find different services you can sign up for and actually participate in this campaign and get paid for your tweet. And the higher your following goes, the more they pay you. So like I know there's services like Linkia, like Erica that likes to do Linkia. When you have a certain amount of following, they pay you more for having a high following. So when you grow your phone, it's kind of unfortunate that, like, you know, you do these giveaways and stuff and they'll raise your number, but then you're looking at me because their advertisers and brands will get followed as well. They also look at engagement. Right?
Well, Linkia looks like yeah, you can do two different ways with Linkia. Either by your uniques or by the number of your followers. So if you've got a high number of uniques, you want to submit that information. If your social numbers are better, you may want to submit that.
Yeah, engagement too. So, and still make money that way too. But sometimes it's easier to just get your numbers and get the following. And I've had people mind, it's kind of funny, they look at me, they're like, oh, you're good at your network, you don't have like 8,000 followers. And I'm like, well, I have multiple accounts for that. Because I'm very, each of my accounts is very credit topic stuff, that audience. And two, I'm not out there, you know, trying to blow it out of the water. I've been, you know, tweeting and everything, you know, for years. You know, I have had these accounts for years, but I'm not sitting here actively doing tons of giveaways. I do blogging lots of giveaways. I'm not posting like other giveaways. I'm not out there trying to like get crazy numbers because I'd rather never. I don't have time for that. But you, as your own blogger, you want to do that. That's the way you make your money. I make money from a lot of ways, and I don't have to necessarily have to. Moving forward, disclosing when you're doing professional, disclosing of recent things. And that includes hashtag ad, hashtag sponsor. The FTC said that even hashtag spawn, like SPON, is not acceptable because that means. So like we want the full out like sponsor. And they are, you know, they want you to disclose when you got something, even if it's just free product. Not only free, but like they consider that like compensation. So you still have to disclose and stuff is given to you. Yeah. Now another thing when you're attending events, tweeting live at the event, using the hashtag. They love getting the exclusive. The sponsor is responsible to get the exclusive. And the event host get happy because the more you're, as an attendee, are sharing, retweeting, and so forth with the brand, now they have even higher results to show the brand from their event, which warrants their sponsorship. So the event host is very happy for them. So they're not retweeting all that stuff. They want you to do that, And then the sponsors will know this. I mean, I've been to events where I was the one who tweeted the most. I actually won a contest with ATD during events. I had one more tweet than Ted Rubin. No, Ted Rubin, but he's got like 200,000 Twitter followers. He tweets like madman. But great tweets. He tweets like crazy, and I had one more tweet for the entire conference. So wow. And I won a contest with AT&T. They did it all the time. For the whole entire event, and I wasn't even tagging them until the last day of the event, and I still won. So it was because I was actively engaged, and I was taking real pictures and putting real quote tweets and just tagging them on all these different things. And they noticed, and they wrote to me, and I won a press thing. I won a bunch of stuff just because I was engaged with sponsors at the event. So they will reach out to you and they'll be like, oh, I noticed, you're gaining followers from that event. So pay attention, I guess, sometimes you'll go to an event and you'll have like all their sponsors. I like to take a picture of that and tweet it out. And if I can use their handle, I'll tag them all. Because they'll love that. They'll be like, yes, thank you for that exposure. I call it tweet stock brands you like, you want to work with. So if you think, people know me from McCafe. I'm kind of in trouble with my husband for reading people. And I love the cafe chocolate chip. My husband's like, that's not coffee, it's a dessert. I'm like, it's my sin, but whatever. I love the cafe. And I was I kind of always like post my McCafes when I'm going to events and I tag hashtag McCafe and I tag them and stuff. And they're not paying me, you know, I'm just you know, I love McCafe and I'm like, I'd love to be like an ambassador. Next thing you know, I get emails. We did Bloggin on with in Hayward Park and they showed up. Went to the event. Like,
You're like, did you bring me a McCafe?
yeah, like, you know, then they're sending me private emails, like, when we launch an ambassador program, right now you're like an unofficial ambassador.
So what would that look like? Do you know what that would look like?
Well, if you really love a brand, like if you're authentic, if you really, like, people know I love the McCafe. I tweet it, but I'm not getting paid. If you really love a brand, and then you want to be working for your company, then share that stuff. If you really, really like time, you know, going to the tournament, when you're washing your clothes, get a picture of the client and share it and tag it.
Do you think that they could pay me like per tweet? Do you think, like, what would that relationship look like?
It depends on what their objectives are. They might have campaigns or things that, if they know that you're a blogger, you really love their brand, they'll reach out to you and, you know, engage with them. Get to know the people that represent the PR companies. You know, don't just try to do business for them. Unless they specifically come to you, get to know them first. Because, you know, otherwise they think they're pushing. If you're going to a brand and you're asking for money right away, they're just going to be like, no, I see it. But if you, you know, start to get to know them, find out what they're working on, ask them questions. One of the things that I've learned a lot in sales is ask a lot of questions. People love to talk about it. Ask a lot of questions. Since this is a Twitter class, ask a lot of questions on Twitter. People will write back. You'll get to know a little bit more about your audience. And ask brands questions. If they have a good social media team, they'll write back. And now you're not pitching them service, right? You're asking them questions. But now you're getting the answer to questions.
So what's an example of a relationship that you have built that has turned into that?
Oh my God. I've got so many.
Did you pitch them, or did they come to you and say, we want to pay you X amount of dollars?
That actually, you know, it can actually go in the PR company things we have relationships with. What you'll find sometimes is a lot of turnover with PR, and sometimes they change agencies, but they work with you to sell something else, and then something comes up that they're like, hey, the European Wax Center is actually a PR contact that I have never been to a European Wax Center before now. And they were like, hey, I think we would be really good for this campaign, and blah, blah, blah. They have my fashionistas, and they came to me and said, you know, hey, what would you try to do this kind of work? And they came to me with a set already thing. Okay. Now with Bloggin Mom, it's a lot of things as a network. We work with the sponsors to come up with the best campaign that's going to meet, you know, their needs and be doable for the bloggers, you know, at a local organization. You know, we try to get them It all depends. Sometimes they'll come to us with something they already have in mind. Sometimes they'll come to us and say, hey, what do you have in mind? What would you pitch? We're doing Florida pre-K and basketball. And so they came to us and said, here's what we did last year, but we want to see what your idea is for this year. We want to we up this and change it and this, and then we came up with a plan. And they booked it. You know, we approved the plan because they approved what we proposed. So there, you know, there's things, sometimes they need direction, but sometimes they already have direction. They just sometimes they have a direction that might be a little off. And then you can be like, hey, you know, I see here you did this, but I think that this might work a little better. You know, I see here that you're saying this, but I think that maybe you should. You know, as an experienced person, might be able to move the audience. Sometimes there's PR that understands bloggers and they understand their audience and how it works, and then there's some that just kind of learn bloggers and don't try out very much. So you might have to be like, well, here's what my audience really responds to. Here's what, you know, my audience really retweets this, or they really like to do stuff on YouTube, or they really like these kind of things. You have to know that your audience really responds to, so that you can tell them, here's what you want. Yeah.
In that campaign, you're pointing out on Carolina's campaign that you did.
Yeah.
What difference did you see? Like, what they were thinking? Like, what difference did you make? You know, to saying that they had a something, you just had.
Oh, well, they had an ambassador campaign. So we kind of altered. They were doing things a little different. Some of their compensation was more of like gift cards. And I, I was explaining to them, I was like, yeah, gift cards and tablets are great, but $1 not cash. And you'll get a much better result to pay in cash. I'm like, honestly, and like that was one of the biggest differences we made, is we changed it to cash compensation. That was really.
What was it prior?
Their prior campaigns were, I said gift cards and tablets, like, not fully monetary.
Mm-hmm.
Things like, and the gift cards weren't necessarily these are gift cards, these are gift cards, for toys and merchants, and I just was like, no, we're gonna get a much better result if you pay people, because if you want professional bloggers, you want people that are doing this as their job, and they want to do the best job as they're not just doing this for a hobby. They're not just like a hobby person that, that's great. That's it. It's you want to make sure that you are getting the best proper bloggers that you can get, and you'll find that the higher level bloggers that are very professional, taking nice pictures and doing this and the other, they've gotten to that point where they're like, I'm not taking more, I'm not taking gift cards anymore. And occasionally, if they do take cash, it's because it's a very strategic move on their part. So, I tell bloggers, don't turn off free completely, because just have a plan. Don't just do stuff for free and hope it work. Have, like, if I'm tweeting this particular person, have an idea of what your goals are. Your brand is. I would love to whatever with them.
I guess that's my question. Is like, I'm definitely in a situation right now where I have a lot of companies coming to me with free product.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that because I'm always in conjunction with what I believe in authentically.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. But I need to know, like, when does that turn? Is it a natural organic progression? Is it?
Well, I don't know. Develop relationship, but there is some element of natural. Or sometimes they'll come to you naturally.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to get a little more.
Okay.
Like, I really like to do this so that you, for this one, I'm not going to charge you anything.
Okay.
But if we wanted to, once you see what we can do for you, it's
Okay.
an event.
It's a mix.
At this point, if we want to do another one, we would have, so that they're aware. Next time. So they have to have like that step built already. If you're going to do anything for free. Is it going to lead to something, or are they just going to continue to try to get you to physical?
That was my question. Is why, if you're doing it, I like what you're saying. I get it.
Yeah.
So there's like a threshold there that has to naturally happen. You're not just doing it for free all the time.
Yeah, and being a blogger for many years, I've been doing like people where I developed stuff for free, and then when they started paying other people and not me, and it was because I had done so much stuff for free for them that they felt like they didn't need to pay. And that was because I didn't put down. Okay. And you learn, you learn like, okay, now I know the boundaries of my And because I appreciate relationship, maybe I'm maybe I'm because of our relationship. And I'm not, going to break. So they get that. Like, I usually tell them, I know this isn't totally supposed to be a Twitter chat, and we're getting into monetization. You want to make sure you show the value. So, like, even if Twitter, one of the tools I'm going to go into is tracking, so like hash tracking. Hash tracking is a service that you can put a hashtag in, and you can track how many people are retweeting it, how many people are sharing it, how many people, how many impressions you got in a certain amount of time. It helps you kind of show results to a brand, like, hey, I use this particular hashtag for you, and blah, blah, and all these people retweeted it, and this is how many people saw it. You can show results, and now all of a sudden, you can translate that to why you do. But they pay for advertising, they pay for impressions, so if you can show them, whatever it is, that'll help you. Another thing I had invoice your stocking brands. Uh, consider also using the PR-friendly hashtag in your description on Twitter. Because if people look at your Twitter and you see PR-friendly, they're like, oh, they're PR-friendly with your blogger, and you really put it
In our like
Yeah,
profile,
you can put that in your profile description.
Is that here?
PR-friendly.
hashtag PR friendly.
Yeah, because then it comes up in search results. See,
Put in your bio? I
Like, do
didn't
you
think
recommend-
that.
What was that?
What are the hashtags you recommend in your bio?
I try not to go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 160.
Yeah, so in your bio, sometimes like I have put like mom, hashtag blogger, hashtag entrepreneur, because it shows up in results. So if you're wanting to show up to work with a brand and your tweet's talking in, or you're writing something, you're sharing pictures, and they check out your page and they say, oh, yeah, friend. Oh, she's a blogger. Yeah, let me like, or a PR might search hashtag PR friendly just to find what bloggers are willing to work with. Another thing I was saying is tweet pro bono, even when you don't have to. Just so that you can show some kind of results. Sometimes you'll take on like portfolio clients, people that don't have a huge budget, but that you can work for and help, just to gather the data that then you can then use to leverage higher contracts. Because if you can do some stuff and have results that you can document and show, it's worth doing business. I like to have a lot of I do some stuff. Sometimes I'll do things, I'll give away some money for free. Like, I'll do things for free that helps a small business owner generate money. I'm very long-winded, sorry. But I'll help a small business owner, and where I don't charge them a fee. But then I'll collect all the results. Like, we have this many entries, we have this many hours for your page, or blah, 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 blah. And this is an example of a small business client that we're doing this for, And then I'll use that to leverage there's an element of social good, and then it has a strategic, like, not to say all charity money, but more, you have how do you do that? That's kind of new, like, people know that you internally, work with people to develop these skills in practice. Like, you're starting off with a small business client that maybe you're giving it to a position for free, but you help get the experience of working with them and help, get that experience and see what your audience responds to. It helps you kind of scale a little bit higher than it. Okay, so getting into the tools, tips, and tricks. I have tweaked that. Another app I like is called and it's basically, it kind of automatically thanks my copy followers, my copy managers for me. The community app, like that one.
Is that the one that always like retweets? Okay.
There's also another one.
I'm gonna do some more.
Yeah, that's the one that I.
Yeah, I have it on here. Community app on because it thanks like reduce followers. And someone has to like it also like picks like kind of like winners of my followers, so it rewards them for being engaged. But I really like Summel because it's kind of like a really good way to track a lot of cool.
How do you spell that?
SUMAL. Now, Summel, you can put your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, your pages, like all your different accounts, and it'll tell you like your top followers, your top, it's like in one place. It's free. And I love it because it's really good, for trend. It even helps with Instagram. Most Instagram, so it's very expensive. But someone can help you a little bit with tracking that. Okay, then we have IFTTT. IFTTT stands for if this, then that. And it's like a formula. So if you're looking at automating some of your pages and some of your setups, there's always what they call formula setup, like if I post to Facebook, then this will tweet, on this profile. If I post this to Instagram, then this will be shared on my Facebook page. Like you set up these formulas to automatically do things. And what's really good about it is like normal apps that you connect where you post on your Facebook and it tweets, you put a hashtag, in Facebook. People are not huge on hashtags on Facebook. They used to not like, they didn't want hashtags at all. But what's really good about if this then that is it's set up to allow you to participate in platforms. So like if I'm sharing this to Facebook, I can set it up to share a certain way on Twitter, where it does the app on Twitter, but not on the Facebook page. Like you can set things up to automate. And the formulas that they give you, the formulas to use, and then you can try to connect it. And there's like, I don't know, thousands of different formulas you can search and look. I've gotten some, like, take a picture of a business card and have it transferred into your contact list, but using this formula. So I had it set up where I took a picture, it went to my Google Drive, and then from my Google Drive, they took all the information from the card and put it into my Google Drive. From that business card. Yeah, so like there's different formulas on there that can automate things so much better. And that's also great.
Where's that again? Sorry.
IFTTT.
That's literally what it
It's
is.
called IFTTT. If this, then that.
Wow.
If this, then that. It's formula. If that. A little app that I have in my phone called Assistant. Follow for this is basically when people mention me or how many followers and stuff, there's a thing called Follow Friday for people like 50 followers and engage or support. The hashtag or hashtag Follow Friday. Have an app called Follow Friday Assistant. And what that does is on Friday, I can go in there and I go into the particular account because you can put more than one account. You can go for that account and then it can pull the list of the people that it says are most engaged with you, that you should be thanking, are new followers and so forth, and then you get the list, and then you tweet it out, and all those handles automatically send out tweets with the Follow Friday hashtag attached to it. And so you don't have to worry about characters, because if it comes out to like 720 characters, it'll break it up into multiple tweets. Each tweet will have Follow Friday automatically attached to it.
I just looked.
And you can uncheck people. Like if there's somebody on there where it gives you the list, you can scroll through. And if there's somebody on there you don't want to give a Follow Friday because you can uncheck them before you tweet. So you can decide. It'll tell you who they recommend the most to tweet out. And you don't have to just do it on Follow Friday. So like say you want to do something on Monday, you can pull a list and just change the hashtag that it inserts in there. And exactly. Another one there's another thing called Tagboard. Tagboard is pretty cool because it aggregates all the content. And you can create like your own custom tagboard with like a logo on top. So if you want to say that like you hashtag with long name, you can go into Tagboard and create that hashtag and add your image on the top. And it'll aggregate like the 50 most recent posts and hashtag, whether it be on Instagram or Twitter. And it'll show that on the page. So whatever tweets or even hashtag the Instagram, will show you. I guess you have it. So you can kind of see and go there and like engage with it. Thank you. It's pretty cool. I recommend 2.0 for Twitter for usually it's like I think it's like 438 by 220 is the ideal size. 438 this week. And you can go into the Bloggin and pick custom size and do 438 by 220. And put quotes in there, put pictures, put tips in there, and customize it, add your logo and everything else. And then you can add your logo in the company logo? Yeah. It's like an overlay, it's called an overlay, and then you can upload your own. So yeah, if you have your own logo, you can insert it into the image. And so then you can tweet out your pictures.
In the free picture?
and I can see it.
The overlay. I mean, I can do like the ducks in a row and then put my logo in.
No,
the
there's
top.
an overlay, and then it says up top, like your own. And then put your logo into it. Now you can add it as an image.
Okay.
So now all of a sudden you can make your custom Twitter images to upload and put your images so better onto these Twitter purposes. So we used to do, we're doing like blog tips for a month. So like every day we had to take the image. And then it shows up in your image section of Twitter too, so that like a Bloggin as if you go there, a lot of our images are all like tips. So now somebody can go and look at that and see like all these blog tips and, that we do. Another service I like to use, and this is content, like you post with your pictures, Google Alerts. Google Alerts is free. And you can put in particular topics or keywords that you want to follow, and it'll send emails. You can send emails with content that's related to that. So like I have family travel stuff, and I like family travel on Twitter. And so every now and then I'll go into my Google Alerts and see, some interesting articles or posts or things that I can then tweet out and tag them and share. And not only am I tagging them, so then they might retweet me, and it's related to family travel. And then all of a sudden you get new followers that are interested in travel because I'm sharing content. And I'm not seeing it to my own. You know what I'm saying? Like you find Google alerts and you share something that's to their channel. And so now they're getting a little more. That's why they're probably used for that. And you're providing content to your audience. If it's information that they're interested in, then and engage with you, and they say, oh, that's a really cool too. So it doesn't always have to be your own blog post. Yes, it's great to write your own stuff for your audience. If you share other channels as well, again, it goes to the other side of not doing promotion. So, providing valuable content. Twitter lists. Twitter has a cool feature called Twitter lists. You can have public, you can have private. Private lists are a great way to keep track of your competition because it aggregates all their content into one place. So you can, follow, but you don't have, and not follow, rather, you can add them to your list without actually following them. You don't have to interest in just see what they're tweeting. No, not the same. You can go and you click and say add them to list and you pick a list. So like, okay, competition list, and you keep it private, and you can just click on that list and see what they're writing in one convenient place, and that way you don't have to like go crazy and search in your feed for
No. I was wondering if you're mentioning when people brand somebody with a handle.
Oh, I'll mention that. Yeah,
Because
adding
actually,
a period.
I'm speaking to a future marketing director for Q brand.
Adding a period.
He tweeted back at me and just used my handle, and I was like, no, can't do that. Nobody's going to see anything.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
Put the period before the ad.
Either a period, a space, or a word. Even like
starting with
hi,
right?
at Mama's Mission.
Yeah.
Wow, at Mama's Mission.
Yeah.
Well,
And if you feel like you have to say this first,
because
I only
if
do
you
it 'cause it
only
comes up. I didn't know that.
if you only start with the handle, the only people that are going to see that are people that are following both of you.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
And it also helps you get more engagement. Okay, so another thing with Twitter lists is conveniently, like when you're going to Twitter lists that people are jumping onto, you can start that list and start adding everybody that you see as goals. And what you're doing is, hey, add me to the list, so you know me. And now all of a sudden you're kind of connecting with all these people going through this content. And then if you become like the list, like I had that happen on last week. I had created this 2 years ago. And somebody created another list too, but I got like a whole bunch of people onto that list and so forth because I had been and started getting and adding everybody that was going onto that list. And now I was able to engage with them in advance. I was able to see what they were writing about. And then during the event itself, I could go to that list and see what the attendees and what they were tweeting. You know, engagement. And it's right there in the window. Make it a little easier.
Can I ask one more question? Sorry, I know I have a lot of them today. So my handle is is already taken from what I blog from, and I can't get it. So mine is Moms Are Heroes. So it's different than, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I always put like, I help moms love South Florida blog moms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that the best way to circumvent it since I can't get that handle?
No, somebody already took it and she has an active blog.
No, she doesn't.
Are you trading?
Say it again?
Did you trademark?
Yeah.
So you trademark the name that you
submit
can,
that to.
if she's inactive, Twitter, submit, if you are trademark, I've done it, I've gotten a lot of friends who handles back.
Right.
Because they have trademark the name. And there's like even a form on Twitter that you look for, like search for trademark on Twitter. And it'll even ask you like your trademark number, your registration, all that stuff. And if they can go and find that you trademark that name, and that person's not actively using it, then you can probably take it back.
What about on Instagram?
I believe it's the same thing.
Yeah, Instagram is a little harder, but if you write to them directly,
On Twitter, a friend of mine recently did it. She had her blog trademark, and she was able to grab the handle.
And then what happens if nothing follows like you do? What happens if it follows that you have?
Oh, they come with it. Anytime they change your name, they say your followers don't.
Yeah, you
You
just
change
change
your
it on
name
your
a
profile.
million times. Your followers stay the same.
but they'll release the username
Yeah.
for you to change it to that new. You just have to make sure that everybody knows you're changing it.
Yeah.
What I always recommend is, leading up to the change, you start tweeting out and saying, keep following, in another week or so, we're going to be so-and-so.
Yeah, and then, Twitter recently has been giving like to people if you join as a business, they have a business site and you can sign in to the business site of Twitter. They'll give you like $50 free credit for the advertising. And that's why sometimes you'll start seeing people like this like that in Twitter. So that's a good, way to try it out. See, like Twitter advertising seems to it's really cool that little structure. Here's somebody we think you should follow that. It's a nice way free, free $50 credit to try it out. And then you get a couple of followers that way. And if you have something you're working on with a brand, maybe you can incorporate a little bit of the particular tweet. But sometimes it's worth that small investment to have whatever sorts. Sometimes I'll see bloggers even on Facebook do that too. We don't really know the particular sponsored source, so that their results will be much higher.
And you do that through the business side of Twitter only?
Well, no, they have a business site they sign up for.
Is that where you use them?
Yeah.
Or can you do that for regular posts too?
Yeah, I think you can do that for regular too. If you're trying to do it as a business. If you're promoting your own personal post for a business, you just sign up on the business site, and then they'll email you the credit. Yeah, all my friends have it with renewable credit that you can go in and do it. You can save that for a particular thing that you're just really trying to run. Or even sometimes it's worth a little bit of for certain campaigns. You have to be really worth. It has to be part of your plan. Like, I'm doing this campaign. I really want to, have explosive numbers because I know that it's going to reach my word. I'm going to make this.
So you're saying you do that part of it? Or you put it from there? Or is it on the business?
Well, no, there's a website actually for Twitter.
That's
like Twitter
that's
for
where
business.
it is. Okay.
Twitter for business.
Okay.
That you go to there and so email you the credit.
Great. Okay.
It's not always right away. Sometimes they'll email you with the credit and you try it out. And it's just like a way to pick up a couple of extra followers.
Okay.
You know, and that's what's good about that is you can target it the same way like Facebook. Where it's people that you can so more targeted to not like get a bunch of spam stuff rather than you just have it. Okay, so now that they're pretty much again, anybody have any tips that they can that like the market and stuff that you know possibly I don't know. I'm always open because sometimes you don't have things you never knew about. Even when you've done so much for many years, there's still people that are like, oh, that's it, I didn't know that. So, no tips from anybody.
I thought that was amazing information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know Erica, she already gave it, but she Erica's actually one operations manager. Yeah, so she works with us, and you know, we've been improving. Like that's like we're doing brands, right? Like I was going back, it's just going back since somebody just doing this. When we work with brands, sometimes they'll look at networks and be like, "Oh, this network has 75,000, this network has 40." But when you go to Bloggin Mama's profile, and you barely have 8. So why should we work with you when they've got this one and stuff? But then I turn around and show them our results. And then, you know, I show them, here's the results of the campaigns. Here's what we price it. Here's what we deliver. Sign, video. When we did that extra video for our friend's products, it turned out to be the oldest for them. They couldn't bring the products into the picture when we did the cruise. Because the authority has from outside sources. And so to make up for it, we're like, here, we'll make a video for you and share it out there. So it wasn't something we were trying to want to leave them, you know, happy. So we made a little video, and they loved it, and they shared it on both their pages.
Did you do it right on that?
No, we didn't want to go. They have 2 pages, it was like 185,000 followers. You know, that's something like that. And they shared it on their pages, they shared it on their YouTube, they tweeted it out there. And they were very excited, and they gave me a glowing recommendation. And they were recommending it, and here's a testimonial. They were really happy with us and what they did. Because they couldn't bring the product to do it. And we never promised, you know, that they could bring the product to do it. But we want them to just go get money. That normally would cost them to create it and do it. So we do a lot of stuff to make them happen. Yeah, and then we show brands that, like, yeah, our numbers on these profiles, yeah, we might only have like 3,000 fans on Facebook or whatever, or 2,000 followers. Yeah, all of the networks they have these huge numbers. But if you can show results and show, like, here's like, look at, we did the family travel. We went on the family travel. That is a brand new website. It wasn't even available to the public until that night from that event. And we did it with Bloggin Mamas, and we got a couple of sponsors, and we got, in an hour, we got 43 million impressions. It was actually 48 million 2 days. We got 5 million, 3 quarters, and then we got out. And if you look at advertising, the value of that is insane. And I could show them a New York agency that's charging $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $11,000 for a Twitter party, and they're posting. So now I go to them and I say, here's my hash tracking. It's a legit measuring service. You know, here's it backed up also in hashtag. Or, you know, like, here's my backup. Here's all my screenshots to show you proof of my results. And, you know, here's the number of the followers. You know, like, Erica just did an Instagram campaign with us. We went back and said, here's how many followers you gave us. Here's how many this, that, and the other. And you go back to them. And now, you go to a brand and you say, well, here's our pricing. You know, here's our pricing and here's the results we deliver. And our pricing is not like Scooby, you have been, pricing for. But it's way better than the traditional agencies. And now we go to we're experts in this. We're going to deliver results, consistently deliver results on a regular basis to our participants.
So during that Twitter party,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about what you were doing. What did that look like?
There's Twitter parties and Twitter chats. So Twitter parties, we usually have two moderators, one English, and then we have 5 quarters. And we'll basically have different questions that we'll put out for prizes. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of but usually, the stuff I'm seeing is the stuff people does that. Usually. And they'll pre-write about it on the blog and share it, and we do more engaged and have certain questions and prizes. We do prize and discussion. So the prize questions are specific, targeted to say, win the prize. And then we have discussion questions, which are more open to people. And we are able to do that because we hire, the folks from our